IVM.
Did you know this IPL season you can stand a chance to win 100% cash back on your credit card bills? It is very simple. Pay your credit card bill on Cred during power play, and if you win, your name and photo gets projected in the stadium, which you can also catch on your TV screen. So download Cred. Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin, Doctor, your habit coach. And today we have a very special guest with us. I found her life absolutely fascinating because this is something completely opposite to the way that I live or the way that I even think about living. And I got to know our guest last year through the lockdown. And we've become friends over Instagram, over chatting. And we finally met up and he said that, oh my God, we have to do a podcast together. And this is the result of that. So join me in welcoming Anindita Chatterjee, also known as Travel and Chatter, to the Habit Coach podcast. Anindita, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ashdin. It's such a pleasure to be on your podcast.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, like you rightly said, I think a lot of things that Instagram has done in our life is given us great friends, and Ashdin is definitely one of them. And just like how he was fascinated with all my travel stories, I was absolutely fascinated with how he can inculcate all the good habits in everyone and anyone. So yeah, it's amazing to be on your podcast. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay, my pleasure. I love this mutual appreciation society. So cool.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, this whole, through the lockdown, the friends that we've made over all these social media things, isn't it fascinating?
Exactly.
Beautiful people we've been able to connect with.
Absolutely.
So good.
These are the few good things that have happened in the lockdown, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And all the negativity all around. So yeah, it's great.
And we have to pick and choose these things carefully and remind ourselves of these.
Absolutely. When you write our gratitude journal, we'll have to focus on these points more than anything else.
Full marks you got, huh? You already started, Makhan. Nice.
See, I'm a good student.
Okay, so Anindita, tell the listeners a little bit about you and your journey because it's absolutely fascinating.
Sure. So, hey guys, like Ashdin said, my name is Anindita Chatterjee. I'm born and brought up in Kolkata, but I live in Mumbai for the last 15 years. So Mumbai is pretty much home now. And as you all know by now, I am super passionate about traveling. I'm the founder of Travel Chatter. And my adventures have taken me to 67 countries so far. Of course, it would have been at least 70 had it not been for the lockdown by now. But yeah, there is absolutely nothing that brings me more happiness than exploring a new destination. And after globetrotting across the world, it's obvious that now I'm sitting on a treasure trove of experience and a million stories to tell people. And now I want to start using these stories to motivate people to start chasing their passion, to follow their dreams. And hence, I wanted a platform where I could start sharing the life lessons that I've learned from traveling. And that is how Travel Chatter was born. Now, of course, other than traveling, I am an animal lover. I have 2 dogs of my own. I work for some animal shelters. And I am also a marketeer. I have had 16 years of work experience as head of marketing in companies like Unilever, Rentokil PCI, Wellspun, etc. And other than that, I also run an NGO. So my mom and I, we run an NGO in Kolkata, which is called Anubhav Foundation. It's an NGO for slum children. It's a school for around 40 to 45 slum children. And we've been running that for the last 15 years. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
That's crazy. How do you manage to do all of this? And what she hasn't told us yet is that she created this travel passion while working a full-time job. So I think that itself is an amazing achievement. Like, how do you get the time and energy to be able to do all of that?
So actually, I've always been a believer of where there is a will, there is always a way. You just have to figure out what that way is. So, when you want something as badly as I have wanted to travel in my life, no matter what obstacles you face, like not that I haven't had obstacles, I've had plenty of obstacles in life, but it's about how you stay single-minded. You have that single-minded focus where okay, this is what I want and I'll figure out a way to do it. So of course, there has been the good and there's been the bad, but it's all about how to stay focused, how to build a good team, how to figure out that perfect synergy between your passion and your profession, and then take it forward.
It's so interesting you said that because many people keep wondering what their passion is. And they keep wondering what they should be pursuing,
Right.
How did you figure it out for yourself? Like, was there any aha moment? Where did the penny drop?
So, I keep telling everyone that I think I had travel embedded in my genes. I was genetically programmed to travel right from birth, given the fact that my parents being Bengali, they love traveling. So, they've also been traveling a lot even before I was born. And ever since I was a child, we've always been taking vacations, either in India or short vacations out of India. But I've been traveling a lot since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I absolutely owe it to my parents for, helping me love travel so much. And it's amazing. Like I said, when I travel, it wasn't just about the beautiful landscapes that you see or the great locals that you meet or the culture that you soak yourself in. It's about, to me, travel is about how it changes me as a person. I think every destination I go to, I come back a changed, a transformed person. So it's about valuing those life lessons and ensuring every time you come back from these trips, you implement what you have learned in your day-to-day life. And that's how travel has played such an important role in my life. And I realized this is it. Travel is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life and probably make a living out of it.
So do you remember the trip that you went on that you suddenly remembered or the penny dropped or you had this epiphany?
There would be a lot of trips. There was not one single trip. See, I started traveling solo a lot after I probably started earning. So that was after 23, 24 years old. But before that, a lot of trips with my parents. I still remember we used to live in Calcutta and my parents had got us to Bombay. And that was my first trip to Mumbai and Goa. And I was really excited to go to SL World while my sister was really excited to go to Film City, because we both had our priorities. But, even just playing on the beach in Bombay, that's why I tell people it's not about all the exotic destinations across the world. You can find solace, you can find peace. Heaven could be at home itself, close to home. I remember when I was in Mumbai, probably that time again, I was in class 3 or 4, I don't really remember, but just sitting on the beaches, in Mud Island, or I remember when we were going to SL World, it was amazing. I was like, I love what this does to me. Like, it makes me feel so alive. Even as a kid, I felt like, I was on top of the world when I was traveling, and no matter where it is, even if it was just a weekend getaway. And hence, I keep telling, again, an advice that I keep giving everyone, it's not about how much money you have. If you love traveling, there's so much to see in your own city. I mean, despite having lived in Bombay for 16 years now, there's so much of Bombay I still haven't seen, so there's just so much to explore. It's just that you have to have that curiosity and you have to believe in yourself that, okay, I'm starting small right now, but there is one day when I'm going to probably be able to travel the world. And luckily, I've been able to do that. Of course, it's taken a lot of hard work. But, and like you mentioned, about the job, I think I could travel so much because I had a job. Because if I don't have a job, how would I fund my travels, right? So it's very important to pay your bills in order to be able to travel as well.
Traveling is expensive. And I remember, it's so interesting whenever I talk to people, and I talk to so many people about their goals, their ambitions, etc. And in a group of 6 people, at least 4 will say travel is one of their main goals. Right. Now, it keeps puzzling me because when people say travel, they don't really know what they're saying, right? Travel matlab what? From here to Andheri is also travel. From here to, from Bombay to Pune is travel. From Bombay to Goa is travel. From Bombay to Scandinavia is also travel.
Right.
Now, so what is it when people say that they want to travel, that they're actually, asking for? Like, I have a theory. I want to understand yours and let's see how we can meet on this.
Oh, so I thought you were telling me your theory first.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So, for me, like I said, travel is all about what I learned, right? It's all about, so when I say earlier, of course, travel to me was to probably tick off another destination. I would make a list of my dream destinations, and which I actually had done. And it would be amazing to come back and just tick them off one by one, right? And that would give me like a sense of achievement. It would be euphoric to come back and, see, I had made a list of probably 50 destinations and by now I've ticked all of them and more. So it was amazing to come back and tick all that off. And also it's about the research. There's so much that you get to learn. When you are planning to go to a particular destination, the way you will research about the country, about what to do. And you realize there's so much more to life that you don't know. I mean, for you, your life is just what you do day in and day out, or your close friends, your social circle, etc. But there's just so much more. There are so many different ways your life can be lived in a very happy way. Correct. There are so many people who are so happy with so little, you know, and we're here, there's so many of us complaining despite having all the luxuries in the world. So it's just that you open your eyes to so many things that you never knew existed. And I think that is what is the most important essence of traveling to me. Like, you know, for me, be it hiking for miles in Jordan to catch the perfect sunset, or jumping off cliffs in Costa Rica into roaring waterfalls, fishing and eating piranhas in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh, wow.
Trekking a glacier solo in Patagonia. I've met mountain gorillas in Uganda, you know, after trekking for hours through a rainforest. I've just did my open water diving in Maldives. I've sat at the bottom of the sea in Cyprus. I've actually traveled to Cyprus with a handwritten visa. So, you know, all these awesome experiences that I have, I think, is what I treasure more than anything else in life. And it's been an adventure of a lifetime. And
that's so beautiful.
That's what travel is all about.
I love it. Travel is about learning. Travel is about having new experiences. And I think that is the essence of life, right? The more experiences you can have in life, the richer your life is.
Absolutely.
So it's so true. And you know, when people normally talk to me about travel, and this is my theory on it, and we normally talk about this, is that there's always this concept of I want to be free. Travel is equal to freedom that comes in their mind. And I was like, but what does that freedom actually mean? Like, you know, when you travel, for you, is it about freedom?
No, for me, it's about the way it makes me feel. So I think, you know, travel really makes me feel alive. And that's the word. I mean, nothing makes me feel more alive than when I'm jumping into those roaring waterfalls, or, you know, walking into an underground tunnel in Ukraine, 50 meters under the ground. Those are the things when your heart skips a beat.
Correct.
That's when you feel the most alive.
Yes.
And, you know, travel to me is all about pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I think thanks to the experience that I've had traveling to these 67 countries, the word does not exist in my dictionary anymore.
Wow. That's powerful. Huh? That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Everything is possible because the experiences that you've had through traveling.
Absolutely. I mean, today I am the person who I am just because of my travel experiences. I totally believe in that.
Mind-blowing. How do you travel now with work? So you have a full-time job. How do you manage to get so many countries into your, into your tick boxes with that? Right.
So, you know, when I started out, and that was when I did my electrical engineering in Nagpur, I did my MBA in Mumbai, and then I joined Unilever. Now, obviously, that time, when you just start out earning, you don't want to like spend too much on travel. And I keep telling everyone, you know, do not spend your entire salary on travel, as much as I would like to do that as well. But always take care of your savings, figure out what money you have left, and depending on how much you have left, travel. It could be, like I said, a weekend getaway around Bombay or around the place you live. And I have probably been to all the weekend getaways around Bombay by now. And when I tell my friends, and they've been living in Bombay probably for the last 40 years, and they didn't even know these places existed. So that is what the passion for travel does to you, right? You will research and you'll figure out the most offbeat places to go to, even if it's just around your city. So that's how I started out, you know. So I was new to Bombay. I just come to Bombay, and I knew that there's so much in Bombay to see. So even without spending a lot of money or time, like if I go in for a weekend getaway, I don't even need to ask for leave. I can just make use of my Saturday, Sundays. So I would do that, and that would be the best way to travel for me. Now, after that, of course, as you climb up the corporate ladder and you figure out that, okay, now, you know, I can probably plan a lot of trips abroad, or even, you know, go to these exotic destinations. So, you know, one of the tips that I give everyone is plan. That's the most important thing. You have to plan everything well in advance. Now, if you are working, you have a full-time job, every corporate, every office launches their public holiday calendar at the beginning of the year. Now, sit with your holiday calendar, figure out all your annual paid holidays that you have throughout the year, and plan your leaves accordingly. Now, once you have made your entire holiday calendar, ensure that you don't plan your leaves in between any important product launch or any important campaign, because by the beginning of the year, you already know the strategy for your brand and you know exactly what you're planning to launch when. So be wise and don't plan your leaves when you know that you have to be in office. Now, next thing is, once you have your holiday calendar in place, ensure you share it with everyone, your boss, your peers, and your subordinates. All of them should know exactly when you plan to not be in office. Now, obviously, there could be times when your boss could tell you, okay, this is not a good time to go. Maybe you can go on this month, and you have to be flexible. Of course, you have to change your leaves accordingly, but ensure that you do this right at the beginning of the year. It's always good to have keep everyone informed about your plan. Another point would be making the most of long weekends. Of course, when you have a job and you have your public holiday calendar, you know exactly when is Holi, you know when is Diwali. And luckily, if it's on a Monday or a Friday, you can just club 2 or 3 leaves to that particular holiday and you can probably get a full week. One of my best hacks when I was working would be I would take off on a Friday night. And if Monday would be a public holiday, I would take Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off. So I come back on Friday morning and I join office on Friday. So I'm not taking the entire week off. I've only taken 3 days off, but I've actually got the entire week off. So,
wow.
Yeah. So these are a few things that I would do to ensure I make the most of my long weekends and club my leave along with the long weekends. And there are a lot of places you can go to. So for example, I remember I went to Uganda, the awesome experience where we met mountain gorillas. And you don't need too many days to see Uganda. Like, I'm not looking at exploring the entire country. Now, obviously, when you have a full-time job, you have limited number of days. So you have to be very clear about what you want to see in the country. It's not possible to tick off everything. So you figure out where is it that your interest lies, what do you want to do, and go and just do that. So for me, my main focus was to see the city and then go to the jungles and spend time with the wildlife there. And that's exactly what I did for 6 full days. And if I have to see Uganda again, probably I'll plan another trip. But in those 6 days that I got off, I pretty much lived one of my dreams, which was meeting these awesome mountain gorillas. So you have to plan like that. Another thing would be being flexible. Now, when your boss at your office is being good enough to give you all the leave, you have to be ready to work remotely. So you could be sitting in a very exotic location and it could be 3 o'clock in the morning for you, but there could be a review meeting that you need to be a part of. Now you have to be flexible and get on the call. So there have been times, I remember it was like 4 o'clock in the morning in New York, and there was a review meeting for the entire team. Not that I had to be there. I mean, not that I was told that you must be there, but I was like, okay, I need to be responsible enough and I want to be a part of this meeting. And I would ensure that I wake up at that time and contribute to that meeting so that, even though I'm away, I'm ensuring the job is getting done. And that's what I know. If you have a supportive boss, that's what he actually looks at. It's about getting the job done. Doesn't matter exactly from where you're working as long as the work is getting done. And again, I can't stress enough of the fact that you have to build a very good team, because all this while when you will be traveling throughout the year, you have to ensure your team holds fort for you while you are away. So it's extremely, extremely important to have a very good team. Also, when you come back, there are times you might have to work long hours. When I have gone for like maybe 3 weeks for a particular holiday, and they could be paid leaves or unpaid leaves. I was okay to even go without pay as long as I get my chutti to travel. So, when I would come back, there would be times when I would probably, offer to work on a Saturday. I would work on a Saturday, or I would fill in for someone, or, just work long hours to make up for the time that you've lost.
Correct.
I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and the most important point. When you are working full time, and if you are changing jobs, ensure you take a break and you take the longest holiday possible. So all my really long holidays have always been in between changing jobs. So I remember I went for a 45 days trip to South America. So I traveled solo to Peru, to Bolivia, to the Amazon forest, Argentina, Brazil. And it was a 45 days long trip, the longest I have ever taken any holiday, right? Obviously, when you're working, you never get 45 days off. So whenever you change jobs, ensure you give yourself that break, because you need it. Because when you come back from such a holiday, you come back a much more confident and optimistic person and ready to take on whatever challenge life has to offer for you in your next job. So ensure you give yourself that break. A lot of us make that mistake quitting on a Friday. I mean, your last day on a Friday and joining the next job on Monday. I mean, that is the worst thing. I think your brain needs that break.
Before going ahead, we'll take a quick break. Did you know that your energy intake shouldn't just be from carbs? It should also include good fats and proteins. And this is something that the Whole Truth has taken to heart in order to provide you with a balanced breakfast option called the Perfect Breakfast. This is a range of delicious muesli that comes in 3 flavors: nuts, fruits and seeds, quinoa choco crunch, and almond choco crunch. When you eat this muesli, only 50% of your energy comes from carbs. The rest is from all natural good fats and proteins. Just visit thewholetruthfoods.com and use the coupon code HABIT on checkout to get an awesome 20% discount. And we are back.
So yeah, definitely.
It needs that gap. Use it for travel, especially if travel is one of the things that you want to do, if travel is your passion. Absolutely. And like you were saying, it's so interesting because even if you get 7 days off, just go somewhere, right? Yeah. If you manage those 5 days, go somewhere. Because I also think that travel is practice, right? Yeah. The more you travel, the better you become. And you don't have to wait for that perfect big trip to happen. You can just travel to small places and practice how to travel.
Exactly. And it's not about being really adventurous. There are a lot of us who wants to just have a relaxed holiday. Go to some place, you just read. Sit by the beach and read, or, just spend time with your partner, or travel solo and, rediscover yourself. There could be like really relaxed and chilled out holidays as well. So, but it's about giving yourself that break. Travel might not be your passion, but you are definitely a part. You are your biggest asset. You need to take care of yourself. And that's why I think breaks are very important in the field.
Love it. Okay, but I have to ask this. 45 days of traveling, right? What was that like? How do you even start budgeting how many t-shirts, pants, underpants to take for a trip like that?
Oh, that gets very difficult. And trust me, when you become a travel content creator or a travel influencer, it's even more important because you need to have those perfect pictures and you can't be wearing the same thing in every picture and all of that, right? So that used to bother me a lot. But now I'm like, to hell with it. I think people, viewers on Instagram or any social media platform, they want people to be real. They want to see what they go through every day. It's not about seeing those picture perfect photos or, you're all dressed up in a gown and walking on the white salts of Bolivia. Now, that's not what they want to see. They want to see the real you. They want to see raw content. And that's something that I am very fond of, where I am what I am and this is what you get. So I remember this 45 days trip, it took me almost a month to pack. But at the end of the day, I was like, see, I have to travel light. I am firstly traveling for myself. It's not a funded trip. 90% of my trip are funded by me. So I keep telling this to everyone. Ensure you enjoy your experience. That's the most important thing. Don't be so focused. Arey, social media mein ye dalna hai, ye photo hai, wo hai. Forget all that. First, you have to live the experience that it becomes an experience of a lifetime. Only then can you come and curate the content that you have for your viewers. So for me, of course, for any girl, the packing is a big, big deal. But I managed to travel very light. I remember I traveled with just 14 kgs of luggage even less, I think 12 kgs of luggage for so many days. And of course, I came back with, I think, 30 kgs. But yeah. But it was amazing because the first time I was going to be away from home for so long. And I would be missing my 2 dogs like crazy. But it was awesome. And I remember because it was South America, a lot of people dissuaded me. They were like, who goes to Argentina alone? You're going to be raped. You're going to be killed. That's what happens in Argentina. And, this is such bullshit, if I may use the word, because media really paints countries to be a lot darker than what they actually are. Trust me, countries are a lot safer than what you think they are. Like, look at, there are very unsafe places in India as well. Every country has those pockets where probably you should stay away from. So as long as you are being safe and not venturing in those notorious neighborhoods, you're absolutely going to be fine. So, don't listen to people when they tell you that, oh, how can you travel solo and, for so long and such dangerous countries and you don't understand the language there and blah, blah. I mean, just don't listen to all that. Go ahead and do what your heart asks you to do. Whatever makes you happy, whatever rocks you up.
Planning that travel, getting that travel. And when you gave up or you stopped working and then traveling became a bigger part of your life, right? Like this whole travel influencer part.
Right.
So many people are becoming travel influencers, trying to become travel influencers. What is that experience like?
So, I have been traveling since forever now, and I never had social media in my mind. I mean, there are so many countries I've been to. For example, Iceland happens to be one of my favorite countries in the world. And all the pictures I have from Iceland are from a BlackBerry phone, which are not even worth putting up on any social media platform. And I have no videos and stuff, nothing, because that time it was just about me, right? It wasn't about what I put out for the world to see.
Yeah, you're doing it for yourself.
Exactly. So I have a lot of experiences where I probably don't have any videos or pictures, but they were, I think, the best experiences ever. And then, of course, after a while, it was only 4 years back that I started Travel Chatter. And I was always a good storyteller, and people loved listening to all the interesting things that I'd done across the world. So a lot of friends would keep telling me that, why don't you start writing about this? I mean, there are so many travel bloggers all across the world and people make money out of this. So I was like, okay, it took me a long while to get convinced because, you have a full-time job and you are traveling at the same time, going to make a business out of your travel experiences. It's a lot of hard work. So I started out with my website, travelchatter.in. And I'm doing some self-marketing here, guys. Please go to my website, travelchatter.in. And
all plugs are welcome.
And I started that in 2016, where I just started writing about my experiences, putting out my pictures. Luckily, I always liked taking pictures. So even if they weren't the most perfect pictures, but I did have a story to tell. And I was quite excited, when you see things work. Like, of course, I would stay up nights writing these blogs, and I knew nothing about WordPress or, hosting a website on a particular server. I knew nothing. So first learn and then implement all of that. So a lot of hard work, and it's a one-woman army here. And then I found it very interesting because then you start seeing that, okay, you have so much audience coming onto your website. You have people listening to you, writing to you, asking you questions. And the next thing was, of course, the Instagram and the Facebook profile. And it was very interesting. When I started out, I really didn't have any expectations. It was just something that I was doing along with my job. So I wasn't very regular. Not that I would have a schedule that I have to post every day on Instagram or I have to make these videos. I would just post whenever I want to. But then, obviously, after I quit my job, which has been a year now, a little more than a year, and I took this up full time, I was like, okay, now, of course, I have to take this very seriously. And then, obviously, it was all about, curating the content according to what your audience likes. And there's something I really, again, believe in. And, of course, thanks to my marketing career, that, you keep your customer at the heart of everything that you do. So ensure that first, understand your customer, understand where they come from, what is their age group. If I have 22,000 followers today on Instagram, I need to understand what the demographics are, the segmentation, and what is it that they're here for. Are they here to listen to travel hacks? Do they like more content with my dogs? Do they like to know what I do day to day, or what am I doing in the lockdown? So understand what is it that they're looking for. And for me, my Travel Chatter page was all about inspiring positivity. It was about, if my content can make one person smile, then it's a job well done. And then that was pretty much the crux of, everything. And that's how I even started Travel Chatter. It wasn't, definitely it was to enable people to travel a lot more. But for me, Travel Chatter was all about, inspiring people to follow their passion, no matter what your passion is. For me, it's travel. For you, it could be reading, fitness, it could be music, dance, anything. But it's all about, take time out for yourself and do what you always want to do in life, irrespective of your age, of your gender, of your marital status, etc. So that's what was pretty much the objective of Travel Chatter. And it's been great. I'm totally loving it so far.
Superb. And I love the way that you spoke about it as different passions as well. Like we're talking about traveling right now. And I know people must be wondering, Ashdin, are you mad? You're talking about traveling when everyone's stuck at home. And in fact, that is going to be my next question to you. But like that is absolutely it. It is about a passion that you're following, that you're so enthralled in. And And also, I think the reason why I wanted to do this episode during this time when we are stuck at home is to make sure that you realize that you will be able to travel at some point of time. What is it that you should be looking for? And, are there things that you are doing right now to pacify that travel bug in you?
When the lockdown started, it was like a nightmare for me because I had just quit my job, and I didn't just quit my job to work on Travel Chatter, but also to travel the world. And last year, I had trips booked to 7 countries because the first time I had quit my job without having another job in hand. And it was like the happiest time of my life. So I had tickets booked for an Alaska cruise, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Mexico, and almost pretty much the entire west coast of the US. I was supposed to be in the US for 6 months. So I had all these tickets booked. And, suddenly coronavirus strikes and I'm like, okay, why did I just quit my job? I could have probably continued working because I'm not going to get to travel. But of course, it takes you a month to probably get over it. But then, like I always say, it's all about one of my favorite quotes. The mind is a place of its own. It can make a heaven of a hell or a hell of a heaven. And that's always been one of my favorite quotes. And, I'm like, it's all about how I look at it, right? So definitely I can't travel, but maybe this is the best opportunity for me to put in all that I have for Travel Chatter. And then, of course, I started innovating, doing a lot of new things for my page and growing a lot of followers. And, it was about connecting with my followers a lot more. I started a live series where you have also been a guest. And so that was pretty good because a lot of people, it was very engaging. A lot of people loved it and they would keep asking me, okay, who are you getting next? So I was like, right now maybe is not the right time to talk about travel because obviously when you're stuck at home, you don't want to see the entire world traveling around or even look at memories of people traveling in so many places. So it was about, forget me, how do I keep my followers, my Instagram family, how do I keep them motivated? So then I thought that why don't I get in people from different walks of life and start a Travel Chatter Insta Live session. I called it the Travel Chatter Learning Live series. So I started with getting a counselor, LinkedIn professional. I got a habit coach. I got...
I wonder who that was.
Well, watch my live series. It's all saved. And I also got a paranormal investigator. You know how many times listen to a paranormal investigator talking about his life. So I got these really interesting guests, and then I got a dentist, I got a nutritionist, etc. And that's what worked very well because a lot of engagement and a lot of people had a lot of questions to ask. So it's about curating content that's valid at that particular time and that will be appreciated by your viewers. I mean, people loved the fact that I was posting a lot of content with my dogs. I was posting book summaries. I was talking about what are the things that I'm reading. What am I cooking now? I'm a disaster when it comes to the kitchen. But, I started experimenting in the kitchen and how that entire experience was. I was teaching my house help English and I had a lot of things on gardening. So there were a lot of things that I always wanted to do in life, but I never really had the time. So basically it's all about how you look at it. It's all about your mindset. You're like, okay, you are not going to get this much time ever again in life. We did not know a second wave would strike us then, but we were like, you're not going to get. So it's either now or never. So do all the things you always want to do. And that's how I kept myself motivated. I, of course, exercised, ensured that I was the fittest I've ever been. But again, see, all this takes a lot of motivation. You don't have to really kill yourself to be productive. There could be days you just want to lay in bed all day, cuddle with your dogs, watch a movie and do nothing. So I would let myself do that as well and not punish myself for not doing anything a particular day just because I quit my job. So it's all about, taking it in your stride and being positive and being happy with whatever the hell you have.
Lovely. And we don't use the M word on the Habit Coach podcast, which is motivation. Motivation is a bad word here because we all believe motivation sucks. Instead, we should be following habits instead. So it is your habits that actually, kept you in check. It is not about being motivated to do this, but it was that you did this on a consistent basis.
Right.
And the very fact that you had that thought embedded in you saying, how do you make the best of the situation?
Right.
Is in fact a habit that sailed you through this because our thoughts are also habits. And this is so important for us to realize because we might be thinking about, wow, I can't go out anywhere. I can't do anything. Mera travel sab plans khatam. In fact, I was going to do 7 countries as well this last year. We had workshops planned in 7 countries. So people who had come over and paid and everything, we had to cancel those. And the thing is that how do you make the best of this? It's not that anything is gone forever. You still have the experiences that you can plan, and you can actually. This is the best time to plan your next holidays. Do the research work that you were talking about, and save up. This is the best time to save up money.
Yeah, because you're doing nothing else. You're not shopping. You're not going out to eat. Nothing.
Exactly. No movies. No going out.
I have planned so much. Other than those 7 countries that I had planned, I have those itineraries ready. Plus, I guess I have 7 more itineraries ready for 7 different countries. So as soon as the world opens up, there's no seeing Anindita Chatterjee anywhere.
77 countries now will have happened in like one fatak karke.
Yeah.
In fact, guys, tune into the next podcast that we're going to be doing together, because it's all about tips and tricks and habits that we can create while we are traveling and for traveling. So I think that's going to be a very interesting one, and I'm looking forward to that, because I completely suck at traveling and planning. I'll happily follow along, but as long as somebody else plans everything for me.
And I'm just the opposite. I'm like, I have to have everything planned to the T. I mean, I can't ever delegate that to anyone else. And my friends who travel with me, they are happy to give me the responsibility because they know that they're going to have a holiday of a lifetime if they let me plan it.
Dude, okay. We have to then at some point travel together like this, huh? And I'll relegate everything, because I have this one theory. Don't send me any hotels. Does this look good? Does that look good? I won't complain. Just let's go. That is, I think, the way that I like to travel. So it's going to be fun.
Perfect travel companion for me.
Exactly. Awesome. Anindita, I love this chat with you. It was so interesting. It was so inspiring, because you showed how travel and passion can be, created in our lives. It is not something that we have to wait for the future to be able to do it. We can start doing all these passions and our passion projects now.
Right.
And, thank you so much for coming on Habit Coach Podcast and doing this with us.
Thank you so much, Ashdin. The pleasure was all mine. And I can't wait for the next episode. I'm so excited about that too.
So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome 180.
2020 is a difficult year. A global pandemic, protests, elections, recessions. You get the picture. What we need is a space where we can have nuanced discussions about global affairs and foreign policy. That's where I come in. My name is Hamsini Hariharan, and I host the States of Anarchy podcast. Every second Tuesday, I speak to experts in the field of international relations to make a little more sense of the world. So join me on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you're listening to me right now.
Come learn and experience the ABCDs of being queer with me, Shunetro,
and me, Farhad,
on our show, Gay BCD.
The two of us take you through our stories and experiences of being gay men in the city of Mumbai and have candid
and sometimes downright scandalous
conversations about sexuality, gay culture, and everything in between.
Catch new episodes of Gay BCD every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get all your podcasts from.